Black and orange stripes rise and fall, rise and fall. The gentle breathing, the deep breathing of arguably the world's perfect predator. Saracen lies still half wrapped in a tarpaulin, fast asleep in the back of a stolen white van. Donica, you had elected to sit in the back of the van with Saracen the Tiger. Jonah has also joined you there. The doors have just closed and you're waiting to set off. Toff, Siegfried, you are in the front seats of this van. It's a large van. It has one of those almost like bench-like seats at the front that could sit 3 people at the front, arguably. What is running through your minds as you begin this journey? And we'll start with Donica. I said you first.
Donica would be like sitting next to Saracen. I think he'd just be like nervously like stroking the tiger because he knows that like will calm animals. You think it might be helpful. It's very, very odd feeling because currently Saracen kind of looks like a cat. Like this, the breathing is similar, and like the way that he's like lying is similar, all that sort of stuff. But he's just extrapolated to like 10 times the size. So it's a little bit odd. He's just like stroking his fur and like calmly speaking to Saracen while he's asleep. Although it probably doesn't sound like it. He's probably just like making sort of like deep purring noises. And just like, it's all right, don't worry, you're going to be okay, that kind of thing. Entirely focused on Saracen and trying to ignore whatever nonsense Jonah is up to.
Jonah is actually leveling his phone above to begin taking selfies of him with the sleeping tiger.
Donegal will be careful to angle himself out of any of those pictures.
He's trying to get you into it actively. Like he's definitely like sort of moving it around to an angle where he can get you in.
I think like it's one of those things where like Donica will like try his best to use his usual powers to ensure that he doesn't appear. So he'll like, he'll like have this way of like turning around at the last second before the like instinctively right before the picture is taken, or like little things like that. So yeah, weird little sort of technical things that happen when you try and take an image of Donica.
Yeah, Jonah is visibly annoyed at this, and he says, "Squeak does exactly the same. You understand this? You not. You're so shy. You should be proud." You notice that he's speaking quite loudly as well around the tiger, who is sedated. But yeah, we move to the front seat. So Siegfried, you elected to drive. Is that correct? Has Siegfried ever driven a van before?
He's driven, but not a vehicle of this size. No.
Okay. If you want to set off, then I'm going to ask you to make a drive check, please.
Absolutely. Is that what attribute is that? Dexterity?
So yeah, I should actually check the attribute that goes with it. I believe it would be dexterity. For sure. Yeah. Or wits maybe.
Stuff, so that is 3 successes.
Yep, perfect. It doesn't take a genius to be able to drive. This is a manually operated vehicle, so you're able to shift the gear stick, ease up on the clutch, and the van splutters into movement. It is this heavy, loud diesel van, and it begins to pull out from the space. You're able to get one last glance down that alleyway where the the traffic warden disappeared into, thanks to your new friend Squeak. Toph, what's going through your mind as you continue this peculiar mission?
So one, Toph is probably just got this big grin on his face because the absurdity of the whole thing is great. And the other thing is that he's got Siegfried driving a stolen van. That uptight, way too tense dude. He's now driving a stolen van. So he's just loving that. But he reaches into his back pocket and he pulls out his busted up phone. And he doesn't even know if it still works, but he turns back and he looks through at the screen and he says, "Say cheese, guys," and grabs a couple of pictures, not only of Siegfried driving, but of, well, I guess Donica would ditch out, but he would be definitely getting a picture of Saracen and his good friends back there.
Tough.
And then he slams a quick text message and he sends it to Sid with attaching the picture.
Tough, do you know what we have done here? Do you understand what's going on here? That we've stolen a priceless animal from the zoo? Do you understand?
Toph would say, "Sure do," click, and there's like another flash as he takes another picture.
Tough, do you also understand that every time you send a picture, it goes onto the internet?
He leans over towards Siegfried and says, "That's a pretty good one, huh?"
Donica is just going to
pushes the hand away.
You get the sense, Donica, that Toph does not get it. He doesn't understand that once it goes out there, it's out there.
Sig like pushes Toph's hand. Just like, "Do you mind? I'm trying to drive here. I prefer to not crash with a tiger in this van into anything before we get to where we're trying to get."
He would snap one more quick picture and say, all right.
Tess, you are in the front of the sleek black vehicle, the saloon in which you'd arrived in at the zoo. Do you sit in the back or do you sit in the front?
If Squeak gives any indication, then she'd sit in the front with him.
Yeah.
Make conversation.
Absolutely. You are privy to Squeak's driving apparatus. You see a number of pedals attached to what look to be sort of like sawn off broom handles with pedals for him, so his short little legs can reach. But you notice that he's driving an automatic, however, so it requires a lot less footwork. And he appears to be keeping his mind and eyes on the road. You see that he also has what looks to be a battered child's booster seat, so he's able to see over the wheel as well. You can see that it has rockets drawn on
it. Squeak, you seem like a good guy, and you and Jonah seem to get along quite well.
We do.
I've noticed that a lot of other clans seem to stick to themselves. Is that how it normally goes? Or is there mixing like with you and Jonah?
It depends where you go. Some clans have, you could call it similar to symbiotic relationships. One does something for the other, yada, yada, yada. But we can make friends just like anything else.
Well, it's good to know that not everybody's given up on the notion of friendship.
You are friends with lots of different types of vampires, aren't you?
I suppose I am. It's very interesting.
Is it? Really?
Yes, they're very different.
Huh. Not sure I like the Bruja.
He's a little rough around the edges.
He called me Dobby.
He thought he was being funny.
I see. I may have to correct him.
I can handle it for you if you'd like.
Will you correct him?
I certainly can. Also, if you've never seen Harry Potter, it's at least worth a watch. And you don't bear any resemblance to that character.
What's Harry Potter?
Yeah, exactly. Tell you what, we'll do a movie night sometime,
Sure. He indicates, and the car is actually following the van, and you are winding your way through the London streets. There doesn't appear to be too much traffic at the moment, being obviously very early in the morning, just past 3 a.m. Is there anything that you wish, any of you wish to do or discuss, or anything you want to do on the journey to Bedlam?
Donica is like wrestling with the fact that he has like condemned this tiger to probable madness, and he's finding that difficult. Like now that he's in the car and he realizes where he's taking the tiger, and that it's helpless and stuff, he's really starting to like struggle with the implications. Maybe that'll go away when he sees the money, but for now he's like struggling with it.
Yeah, Sig's like grappling with the fact that he's in a stolen vehicle with a stolen tiger and a bunch of crazy vampires. So he's like taking extra care to drive like too safe. It's like not even going over the speed limit, like always just constantly looking in the mirror and like seeing the tiger just to make sure it hasn't mauled anybody yet, like just overly cautious.
For those of you in the front of the van, so Toff and Siegfried, and also Tess, I would like you all to make alertness rolls, please, which I believe would be alertness and keep closing the sheet.
Perception.
That's annoying. And perception. Thank you, Jeff. If you wouldn't mind making that roll, please. Donica, you can't at the moment because the white van that you're in doesn't have windows in the back.
Toph is too busy looking at his busted phone screen, waiting for Sid to text him back. I got 0 successes.
1 success.
1 success, was that? Okay.
Sig is too busy trying not to crash. He also got 0 successes.
Okay. So you're driving down what looks to be like a main thoroughfare. You're basically going through like the business district of London. There are quite a lot of tall buildings and quite wide roads. However, as you go over a crossroads, bam! A truck comes out of nowhere on the right-hand side and collides with the right-hand side of the van. I need you all to make a check for me, please. And that will be a just a straight dex or strength, whichever is best for you.
As I'm in a different vehicle, do I still make this check?
Sorry, Taylor. No, you see this happen before you. This essentially this huge truck just barrels out from a crossroads and just collides into the van before you. Okay. Right. Okay. That means that those in the van, you're only going to take 4 bludgeoning damage.
Can I take more to try and protect the tiger?
Yes.
Okay.
You can take.
I think Donica would. He's like right next to Saracen, and I think like with his superhuman reflexes, he might be able to be like, "Oh shit," and like wrap himself around the tiger's head or something, so it doesn't get smashed.
Yeah, absolutely. In that case, then you're going to take 8 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
Are you counting the having from the vampire bludgeoning in that 4, or is that Is that before or after that?
Oh, that's a
Having-
very good point, isn't it? Because you halve the damage from your save. So in actual fact, Donica, you'll take 4. The rest of you will only get 2. Thank you for reminding me, Jeff. Thank you. So yeah, essentially the impact of this truck, it isn't enough to turn the van, but it is enough to basically send it on its side for a moment before you then rock back. It's almost like in slow motion. You see bits and pieces that were left in the van sort of like rising in the air around you as the impact takes place. You may be vampires, but you're unfortunately still prone to getting whiplash in these kinds of situations. There is a moment's pause. Tess, looking out of the windscreen of the car that has just screeched to a halt, that you're in, you see 2 individuals lean out the side of the truck armed with submachine guns. They have what appear to be hockey masks over their faces, and they begin opening fire upon the van, ripping to shreds. So I would like you all to make let me see, your essentially whatever you'd like with your combat rolls or anything like that, to anything you can argue to would help you protect you in this instance. So that could either be dodge, that can be athletics, whatever.
Could you argue awareness for like a superhuman ability to like sense the bullets?
No.
It's just worth a go.
It is worth a go. Awareness is sensing the supernatural, though, isn't it? You can make one of those rolls if you want, but it'd be a separate thing.
No, that's fine. So is Dex and Athletics okay?
That's perfect.
Robert, they just shooting at the van?
Yeah, it appears that they're shooting just all across the right side of it. And I need to make their checks to see how many successes you have to beat.
So I rolled a lot of 10s. I got 9 successes.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
I was not that lucky. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
Okay, so actually not so bad. So Siegfried, you're not going to take any. Somehow, well, we'll get to this in a second. Toff, you're going to take, let's work this out. I'm going to halve it for you. So a further 2. And Donica, you're going to take 4 as bullets start raining through the side of this van into your back. And I did the halving for you in that instance. Let's start with Siegfried. How are you able to dodge all of these bullets whilst in this contained environment?
So Siegfried actually has 3 ranks in alacrity right now. Celerity, I mean. So he is like insanely fast. So I imagine that like he can like look over and like it's not quite like Matrix style, but he can like see it happening like in the split second that it's happening. He catches awareness of it. And he just like slides down, like unbuckles his seatbelt and like throws it off and like slides down like into the space underneath the dash and the chair, so that the bullets end up going over him before the spray stops, and he like just moves back up in a blur.
Amazing. And Toff, what's it like when you get riddled? Oh, I say riddled, you get like a glancing shot as one bullet goes straight through the window on Siegfried's side and collides with you.
I imagine it's one of those things where, you know, much like Sig, he kind of sees things much slower than a mortal would. So he would see the van, but it would be too late. But he's not wearing a safety belt. So once that van slams into him, he's probably like almost right into Siegfried's lap, and he's just about to probably say something really like tough to Siegfried, and that's when the bullets start. And just like Sig, he trying to move, but he's just a little too slow as one kind of rips through his left shoulder, further destroying his poor jacket.
Perfect. And finally, Donica, what's it like as you take like seemingly the most impact from these bullets as they riddle you through the side of the van?
Yep, I mean, he can't see them coming or even imagine that they're coming. He's just been hit and like knocked across the the inside of the van. He has no expectation that someone is going to start shooting, and so he just gets shot several times. I'm not sure how the damage works, like how far down the damage track I am at this stage. You're muted, Rob, if you're talking.
There we go. I went back to the character sheet. So how much have you sustained? Let's see.
I've taken 8 in the last while. Does each hit of damage take a box?
So it's half, isn't it? Oh, but we've taken that into account, haven't we?
Yes. So I've taken 8, and there's only 7 boxes, so I think I'm dead.
You're not dead.
But I'm in torpor, I think.
Yeah, you essentially get knocked into torpor. So tell me what that's like. As thankfully you protect Saracen, but you yourself.
I don't think vampires can get knocked into torpor from bludgeoning.
Yes, they can.
They can from bullets or lethal damage. That can
okay, that's what I'm thinking of.
For vampires, they're not though, unless they're like
unless
they're phosphorus bullets or something. Yeah,
you can be knocked into torpor from bludgeoning.
Yep. So he's like he like gets smashed across the side of the van, and then maybe he does hear like the and then like puts himself over the tiger in his like last moments, and then just feels like this of like bullets that just like run up the length of his back, and he moves no more, though he lies on top of Saracen, protecting him as best he can.
The last thing that you hear is the obviously the riddling of gunfire, and Jonah giving like a yell of aggravation as you take all of these bullets. It seems that he takes a few himself. There is almost silent. There is silence as both of the clips of these submachine guns have been emptied. Jonah basically scrambles to look into the front seats of the van, and he yells at you, Siegfried, "Drive!"
Yeah, and Siegfried will just slam on it.
And whilst you make a drive check, Tess, what's running through your mind as you see this happen in front of you?
Tess lets out a yell. She's the truck crash, and then just this disbelief as she watches these weapons, and she's looking. Are there any indications that these are Winchester? I mean, she sees the weapons, and that's her first thought. She's looking for insignia. She's looking for military formation. She's looking for combat boots. Anything that would bring her back to that.
Two of these individuals are leaning out the side of this truck, essentially, and have just opened fire. They appear to be wearing black and have masks on. They don't look to be in military uniform. But yeah. And
the truck, what kind of truck is it?
It's just like what looks to be like a tow truck. So it's got its cab at the front, and then it has its flatbed and a crane on the back.
Okay.
So Squeak naturally is going to basically start accelerating behind the van as you successfully pull away from the crash, Jeff, with 5 successes. Excellently done. You notice as you're sweeping past this truck test that you see individuals inside reloading weapons, and essentially the truck is backing up, ready to then begin pursuit.
Squeak, how fast can it go? How this thing go? Can we outrun them?
We'll soon find out. He basically puts pedal to the metal, or rather pedal to the wood to the metal because of his broom thing, and basically accelerates to the point that he is positioning the car between the van and your pursuers, who are gunning behind you, essentially. So, this is going to be a car chase, essentially, guys. So you can do whatever you like to essentially throw off your pursuers in any way you can. We're going to begin with Toph. Toph, you see what's happening.
So Toph immediately looks at Siegfried to see whether he can even manage driving this van at the speed. He's probably yelling, and it's probably not helpful. You know, no no, turn right here. And he's just like, his arm is like in front of Siegfried, as Siegfried's probably trying to shove it away. So yeah, he's just going to be trying to give that moral support that Siegfried probably doesn't want, but he's going to give it to him anyways.
Okay, Siegfried, you are at the head of this rapid procession. How is it for you driving, and what are you going to do to try and throw these fuckers off?
So Siegfried is perhaps a little bit surprisingly tough with his abilities, might be able to see it, but like for him, like everything moves a lot slower given his like enhanced speed. So like he would appear perhaps more calm than he was, just by nature of that. But he's going to attempt to try to find some like a street that maybe they can take like as sudden of a turn as a van can take, to try to like ditch them on a street, so maybe they won't be able to catch up.
Perfect. Donica, you see nothing but darkness, strange, bloody images of individuals with automatic weapons falling before you. You begin to see much more of the events that are still hazy the night that you killed everyone in the Winchester complex. Tell me how you killed some of them in the moments that we didn't see.
There's a moment where like he's just like this sort of coalescing shadow that's like moving from one place to another, and there's like this like flash as the lights like are on and off. The only lights are from the guns, and we see like this like shadow hand coalesce around a leg and like picks up this man and like swings him around over the head and like crushes another man to death, using this man as a weapon, and just like screams, and all we can see is like the flashing of the bullet, the muzzle fire, but you can never really see what's doing it, just this strange shadow.
Siegfried and probably Tess, you see this first, the two of you. Siegfried, you're looking in alarm in the rear view mirror up here as you see through the back of the van, the double doors of it at the back open up. Jonah is standing there, his coat wafting in the breeze as he produces what looks to be one of the largest handguns you've ever seen in your entire life. A 44 Magnum with a muzzle strapped to it, making the barrel almost comically large. And he is going to level a shot at the truck pursuing you, laughing all the time. So that's quite a few. Okay, so you see like the gunfire, and the shot basically goes straight through the windscreen of the truck that's pursuing it. You see a of blood against not the driver's seat, unfortunately, but the passenger seat, as Jonah has just blasted someone away from the back, and he's basically holding on to one of the sort of rails that you put stuff in the back of the van, as you're sort of like whirling around corners like that and taking another shot like that. Tess, what are you doing as Squeak is rapidly pursuing the truck from behind?
Okay, so we're behind the truck, but not behind the van, right? And behind the van.
Correct. The truck is in between you. Yeah.
Okay. Tess is just gonna ask me, how far to Bedlam? Where do we go?
We can't lead them to where we're going. Squeak yells over the noise of the engine as he picks up more and more speed.
Are they not friends of yours?
Oh, sure, they're friends. Yeah, we're good friends. We do this all the time, every Tuesday. Definitely. As he basically swerves to avoid an obstacle in the road. You see from behind you, you see two motorbikes explode from a side road and begin tailing you. And they begin opening fire with what seem to be machine pistols against the back of your car. Okay.
Oh, the back of the limo, though.
Yeah, exactly. However, one does actually get through and hits Squeak right in the shoulder as he's driving.
Oh, no.
He's now going to have to make a check to see if he can keep the vehicle going. Oh, there's a few crits in there. Yeah, he's absolutely fine. Like, he takes it with a grunt as blood splats partially onto the windscreen in front of you. But he's able to maintain control. And he says, "The glove compartment," to you.
Yes, I will open the glove compartment. Tess has been looking around for anything to like throw out to impede, but now she'll check the glove box.
So you see, as you open it, a number of things fall out. You see 4 blood packs of varying types. You see a map. You see a number of leaflets for Madame Tussauds. Oh, and you also notice that there's a Glock 17 in the glove compartment.
Excellent. Tess checks to see if it's loaded, and will roll down her window and shoot at one of the bikes.
Absolutely. Make a firearms and dex check for me, please.
Three.
So you actually hit the rider, but it doesn't dissaddle them. What it does is it clips the biker, sorry, and it swerves off, but is able to maintain its presence, flanking either side of your car. Squeak is going to attempt to swerve. So he's going to make another drive attempt to try and smash into one of the bikes, this time on the left side. Okay, the biker will have to oppose that and fails. So Tess, you see a grotesque image that happens in a flash. Squeak is able to slam the car into the bike on your left-hand side, and it immediately collides with a lamppost, and you see as blood just covers the side of the car as there is a horrendous impact. Toph, what are you doing?
So at this point, Toph kind of looks over his shoulder when he hears the cannon go off. It's at that point that he recognizes that Donica isn't moving. He's just kind of sliding around in the back of this van with this large tiger. He would just kind of leap over the back of this bench seat and just grab him as maybe he's starting to slide to the back of the van and just pull him up and kind of situate him himself so that Donica isn't going to fall out. I don't know if I want to do this or not. So Toph's probably going to be patient for this round, but if not, Toph's going to probably do something stupid. So he's just going to make sure Donica's all right. Maybe he doesn't know anything about first aid. He just sees that he's bleeding and he just says, he'll probably be fine. And that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, you've seen this happen to vampires before in situations like this. Maybe not exactly like this, but you understand that the thing that would be required to bring him from torpor is blood, human blood, or maybe it can be animal blood as well for Nosferatu. So, who knows, right?
Oh. Maybe that realization comes to him, and he kind of looks over at Saracen, and he's like, then he kind of looks at Jonah, and he's like. So he's thinking, we'll see what he does next time.
And the last thing that you hear as your turn comes to a close is a it's agreed.
Yeah, Siegfried is just going to continue trying to lose these guys, trying to like take sudden turns or squeak by like certain traffic stops before it changes, things like that. With another four successes on a drive.
Perfect. You can explain to me exactly how you managed to get a little bit of headway away from them as you make a successful driver's check that, does beat that of your pursuer.
Yeah, I imagine that it's like with the way that it looks like it's moving to Siegfried with the enhanced speed, like he's able to like take longer to like identify certain paths than a normal person's perception might normally allow. And he's able to see that there's a turn that he can make like just in the nick of time. So that he like very suddenly just like jerks at the wheel just enough to try to keep it so that the van's not gonna tip. but he's able to like make a turn quickly. That the others have to take a little bit longer to like slow down and make.
Absolutely, the wheels of the van screech and complaint as you're basically driving this thing probably faster than it's ever gone in a very long time. Good stuff. Donica, you are still seeing vivid images of things from your past, perhaps conflict, perhaps something else. Tell me what he sees in his fever dream.
Spooling intestines as he like pulls this like endless rope. He's like shadowy hands pulling this endless rope out of a man, and then like tossing it over his shoulder before like appearing next to another and like crushing a head with his fist. He's like not enjoying it. He's horrified, but he can't stop. He's not really in control. He's just watching it happen.
And it's weird because as you're doing this, all the faces of the people that you're killing are blurred, and they don't really seem like people. It's a dehumanizing experience, something that you're, getting used to at this point. Jonah is going to level his large hand cannon at the car, at the truck. Sorry. Oh no. Okay, so he lets loose with a shot of this hand cannon, but even the greatest, most powerful vampires sometimes fuck up as he critically fails, and the bullet, I'm going to say, just jams, and he looks at it and starts hitting it, going, unable to make that shot, unfortunately for Jonah. Tess.
Tess wavers slightly and pulls the trigger again. Another 3 successes to hit on the biker on her side.
The one that you shot at before?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what happens as you kill this individual.
She hits something in the mechanism, and the bike sputters, and you see this man somersault before there's a crack as he lands on a railing, and his spine bends in a way that spines should not.
Excellent. Squeak is going to make another attempt to basically smash into the... oh no, he's already smashed the other bike, so you're actually in the clear at this point. For the meantime, anyway, so Squeak is just going to make some wicked driving checks to see if he can keep up. He remains at an even keel to where he was before, but he's able to keep up with the van. He isn't losing you, and he's not losing the truck behind you. We go back to the top. Toff.
So Toph, he starts hearing that purring sound, which maybe in any other given time he probably would enjoy that, with the fun that it would entail, but not now. He's like, he gets up and he's kind of like bouncing around in this van, and he's kind of making his way down to Jonah, and he says, hey, your cat, it's waking up.
Jonah looks around and says, we'll sing him a lullaby, as he's basically trying to fix his gun.
Toph would just nod like that is the most obvious thing that he should do, and he would just kind of get down by this cat and drags it over to where Donica is, and he just takes its large, like huge furred paw, and he just kind of hangs it over Donica's mouth, and he's just going to cut a little bit of the cat's. And the whole time he's going to be humming a lullaby, maybe something his mother used to do went back way back. And he's like, and he's going to start dribbling some of this cat's blood down into Donica's mouth. And he kind of like, with his other hand, he's kind of like pressing it in to the lips.
Yeah, somehow. Maybe it's the momentum of the car that shifts the big cat and Donica in such a way that you're able to sort of get Donica's mouth to the neck of the tiger as it still breathes and begins to growl more and more as this particularly loud and dangerous chase is ensuing around it. Excellent work. Siegfried.
Yeah, Siegfried's just going to like look forward and see a stoplight and just try to gun it to like make it through, and hopefully make these people either have to stop or drive through traffic. That's 3 successes on a drive this time.
Yeah, perfect. You're seeing, thankfully, once again, not so busy at 3 a.m. But you dare say that going through this would still be pretty dangerous, as you've already been hit in the side once this evening or this morning. You're able to basically gun it. You're now on a wide, straight road, and you can see that you have a number of turnings that you can take to evade them. But you're maintaining speed away from them, so progress is being made. Fantastic. Donica, what do you see now?
He is starting to like coalesce. He like is walking, and he's outside, and he can feel like the air. He like looks down, and he can see like the shadow begin to like form into a hand, and then like vanish again into a shadow. And he's like trying to shake away whatever this is. He's starting to like realize that he exists again. He's starting to get control over his faculties slowly. And the weight of the blood is like starting to weigh upon him.
It's sudden, it's frightening. Something grabs your shoulder with intent. It seems to hurt you. How do you react?
Lash out.
You lash out. You rake your hand basically back in an attempt to counter this maneuver. And as you turn, you see that the figure that you've struck down is the only one that does not have a blurred face. You see someone familiar to you, someone that you still love very dearly, as your wife drops to the floor with an open throat.
Yeah, he would just howl and like fall to his knees and try and fix whatever he can. Just like howling and bubbling.
Jonah has fixed his weapon, and he looks at it, tosses it to Toph, and he says, "Driver! Driver!"
What?
When I say you are to perform a handbrake turn, do you understand?
Yes.
You are to comply, driver.
Whatever you say, boss.
That's what I like to hear. And then he looks with a furious intent at the drivers that's pursuing you through that bloody windscreen. And he closes his eyes, and then he opens them. I think only Toph would probably get a glimpse of this, as you're the only one back there. But you see Jonah's eyes sort of glaze over to like a pearly black, deep as the darkest night, as he looks into the soul of the individual driving the truck, who instantly goes insane. You can see, Toph, through the window, that this individual begins clawing at his own face, trying to get this mask off. You see this very pale grey-looking individual rip this mask off with both hands, trying to claw at his face. And you hear Jonah's voice echo as if far away, saying, "Accelerate, accelerate, accelerate, accelerate. Driver, now." Siegfried, make a handbrake turn with a drive check, please.
Yes. So somehow he's never actually done this in real life, but he's like seen it in movies and is just like, yeah, I can try that. And just like goes for it, and somehow 5 successes on a drive.
Oh my goodness me! Explain to actually no, I'm afraid I'm going to have to describe to you, because you essentially are coming up on what looks to be a ring road that goes around part of London. It's a raised bit of road. The van is able to basically screech around in a fantastic handbrake turn, particularly for such a cumbersome vehicle. You surprise yourself, Siegfried, with your prowess as the van whirls out of the way and the truck pursuing you bombs past you. You're able to watch as it smashes through a barrier and basically wheels around and around and around as it turns over and disappears over the edge of this raised road. There is a moment, and then as the truck disappears into a fiery oblivion. Good job, driver.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I guess.
And that is where we're going to take a short break. 5 minutes, guys, and we will continue. We will continue. For those of you watching, thank you very much. And we will be back soon. My goodness me, can't talk. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that's a word for it.
Who knew Siegfried was a bona fide getaway driver, man? That was great.
You just summed up exactly probably what Toph is thinking when he heard the whole handbrake turn. He probably looked over, he's catching this gun. He probably looks at Siegfried like when he's like, yeah. I'm like,
Much hard to
He's
do
probably
it as well. I took that into account. I was like, you need to be this to actually be able to do it, and you totally did it. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah. He's probably like super amazed when he does it.
He's got 2 dots of drive, but like 3 dex and then 3 celerity. Just like any dex check is he's just going to be a monster at.
I imagine actually for Siegfried, if you were using celerity there, that actually seemed like quite a slow chase. Like it's always like you're driving.
It'd be like doing a turn at like 20 miles an hour. Just like
yeah.
I'm so glad you were driving though, and not Tess. I would not have made those turns.
Yeah. It's like you ever seen those really old movies, like when like they're driving really fast and they show the speedometer, it's like 30 miles an hour, whereas like movies nowadays, it's like, whoa, you're going like 100.
You can see that they've sped up the footage as well. As
yes. That's what it looks like to everybody else, but for for Toph and Siegfried, it's probably like everything's like in slow-mo.
Absolutely. Most interesting. I enjoyed that.
Hey, it's not a role-playing game if there's not some sort of like car chase, wagon chase in it at some point.
I think that might have been my first ever role-playing game car chase that I've run. Just like any other chase. Really. No. Fun though. Are we all back? think we are. Well, to the vampire of the hour. Siegfried, what's running through your mind as you watch this car disappear, the truck, sorry, disappear over the edge?
Yeah, so he like hears the truck just like he sees it like just whiz by in the rear view mirror as he like turns and it just flies by and he just hears the wreckage behind him. But somehow he's just not even necessarily even paying attention to that. Like he can hear it, but he doesn't acknowledge it. He's just gonna yell back to Jonah, "All right, where are we going?"
To Bedlam, good man.
Yeah, he's just gonna try to keep. He's not gonna stop even for a little bit. Like despite everything, he's just like, I'm just trying to get to where we're trying to get.
Yeah, absolutely. Perhaps you'll be able to. One of you will be able to like Google it and get the postcode and sort of use your phone to do it. I mean, that you'll be able to find your way there. Absolutely.
Yeah, if Jonah had the address, he would just plug it in
for
real
sure.
quick.
Yeah.
You see Tess briefly in the other car, like undoing her seatbelt and starting to open the door, and then the van takes off. She's like, I guess they're okay. Fuck.
Some of them are okay, Squeak says.
That's relative. I think Toph would remember Donica and the tiger that is slowly starting to awaken. He just looks down and now he gets a little bit more fevered, I think, in what he's doing. He's like kind of pushing the paw of this tiger to make sure that there's getting blood in there. And he's just like, come on, damn it. And then his eye catches the gun that he set down and he's thinking, maybe I'll have to use that. And he reaches and snatches it up.
Donica, you're standing in a dark room and you see two large green eyes looking at you from the darkness. One paw, another paw. This huge tiger sort of panning its way towards you, predator-like, pure perfection, the perfection of nature and a predator. What's running through your mind as you see this tiger, and as it makes each step, you slowly begin to awaken?
Just like some similarities, definitely between a tiger and a vampire, both like apex predators. Traditionally, like solitary, beautiful but dangerous. There's a lot of like overlap, and he would like be thinking about that. He wouldn't like back away. He would just stand and watch the thing approach, try and hold his ground.
And as it basically draws close to you, it stops just before you, and it gives an almighty roar. And it bares its huge teeth, and then you awaken. This isn't any kind of rule whatsoever that I think I've read in any of the books, but I've just seen it in the chat. I really like the idea that the tiger blood will have done something. So we'll work out what that is. I think for the meantime, you'll be on half of the you'll be on like the lowest thing that you are for injuries, I will say. Okay. So is it wounded or
the lowest would be incapacitated.
Sorry, no. Yeah, I'll say injured. I'll say injured for now. Okay. That seems like, because that's like I meant by -1. That's what I meant.
Right.
So yeah, you feel like a kind of like, it's almost like someone's like hit you with an adrenaline injection a la Pulp Fiction as you sort of awake with a start. The van doors are still rocking as you see the open road behind you. Jonah is still holding onto this thing, looking at you with a maddened, gleeful expression. Glad to see you're still joining us.
I think he like wakes up and like sees the doors are open and just like will shove his like claws into the side of the van and then like make sure he's got a good grip on Saracen, who could just fall out of the van. Like, who's thinking about this stuff? And he's like looking around, like, close the fucking doors.
You see Toph kind of like hovering above you on his knees, and he's like, fuck the doors, tiger. and he points to the tiger. You see in his left hand, he's holding this enormous gun that you've never seen Toph carrying before. And you look, and the tiger's kind of like, I think Jeff does it best, but it's kind of like, and you see Toph's like, take care of the tiger, Don.
Yeah, he'll like pet Saracen and be like, "It's all right, buddy. Don't worry, you're nearly there." But he'll be like fishing around in his like long coat for those pills that he would have taken with him.
Yeah, you absolutely. I remember you taking them, so that's absolutely fine. You'll be able to retrieve those. You do see that there is a slight amount of blood dripping from sort of near the neckline of Saracen, as Toph had obviously made a tactical incision to obviously revive you.
Did you feed me tiger blood?
Toph just looks and he's like, "Yep, needed to get you back up, boy."
Whew. And Duncan is about to say it was amazing, but then he realizes that Jonah is in the car, and then he says nothing. And we'll just kind of like nod. Okay, are we there? What the fuck happened?
We got hit, as you saw, and then chased. I managed to lose him.
Yeah, you did great, Sig. That was and Toph is really impressed. He's like, that was probably some of the best driving I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was some Fast and Furious shit, huh?
Yeah. Damn. You impressed me, Sig. And he goes to like get his phone, but then he realizes he doesn't know where his phone is. It's probably somewhere up in the front floorboards. Because he was going to take a picture of Sig, but that'll have to wait.
Okay, but let's hold on to the backslapper until we get to wherever the hell we're going. And this tiger doesn't wake up and maul us.
Yeah, I think if Toph sees that Donika's got well on his way to taming this tiger, he would like kind of make his way to the back of the van and close the doors, hand the gun back to Jonah. And if he can help, he doesn't say anything to Jonah. He wants to limit any sort of interaction with that guy. He doesn't make eye contact with him or anything. He just kind of hands the gun to him and then hops back in the front seat of the van.
Thank you. He says that you can feel that Jonah's sort of just looking at you. You can sense his vision on you as you're sort of like busy.
There's probably like a nod of the head, but yeah, he doesn't turn. He doesn't say anything.
He's a weird dude to be around. Like, I don't believe me one bit.
Who was it? Who got us?
I have my suspicions.
Share them, Jonah.
When we arrive at Bedlam, let's one thing at a time. I'm centering myself.
Oh, good.
Toph would lean back in the seat and he'd say, "Hockey mask, machine pistols," and he would kind of wince a little bit as he realizes that he's got a bullet that's slowly kind of working its way out of his shoulder.
Yeah, you hear dink, as Donica also, you feel a number of rounds slowly starting to push themselves out of your back. One of the surface impacts already falls to the van floor and rolls along the back.
He's raging like his nice coat and his nice shirt from that incredibly fancy establishment has now been ruined. He's going to have to steal more.
Or looks more badass now that it has bullet holes in it, right? Right? That's a thing. So it doesn't take much more effort, and you do not encounter any further car chases as you drive towards Bedlam. When you arrive, you see quite an astonishing sight. To explain something about the world of darkness, it is indeed almost a mirroring of our own world, but some things changed and some things didn't. For example, Bedlam in the modern day is actually a very reputable hospital with a number of wings, with an emphasis on, researching and taking care of those who are mentally ill. However, the Bedlam world of darkness is slightly different. It looks akin to Arkham Asylum from Batman. You can see its Gothic architecture, wrought iron gates. You can see this. It's surrounded by just open landscape, which is entirely fenced. You imagine quite a good roaming ground for a tiger, perhaps. But either way, this thing looks like it's something out of Dickens. And in the darkness, the gargoyles that hang from the walls watch motionless as the van pulls up. The place looks to be entirely in darkness as well. There are no lights on or anything. And Jonah claps his hands together and rubs them. Home sweet home. Now, let us show Saracen his new home.
Yes, and the money.
Yes. Money. So you ever talk about, Donica, gets very boring.
Well, it's not really a social visit, Jonah. It's a job.
You want to come in? You've got to help me carry him in, surely.
I'm not feeling great, to be honest. I've been shot several times.
Everyone gets shot, Donica. I've been shot.
Sure, yeah, but I think Toph is probably better suited to carrying Saracen in. I'm not feeling the best.
Okay.
Toph shoots you a look. You probably don't see it because you're looking at Jonah, but he quickly shoots you a look that says, "Motherfucker, we're gonna have some words later." And he's like,
Siegfried smiles as Donica says that, just like, haha.
And Toph is like, yeah, I can give you a hand.
Excellent. Let us take Saracen to the menagerie.
Yeah, so Toph would jump out of the van, run around to the back, open the doors, and just kind of pull. It's like he's wrapped in a big canvas, right?
Yeah, half. You can
canvas
see
out.
his head still sticking out of it, whatever, and his paws out the side from. I made a mistake. You took blood from his paw, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So his paws out as well, but I imagine one of you would have probably healed that to stop him bleeding or whatever.
Yeah.
With your saliva. Tess and Squeak, you have arrived as well, pulling up next to the van. Tess, you're able to leave the car and go and see what they're up to.
Toph exits and is waylaid by Tess. Toph, what? Is everyone okay? The van is Swiss cheese.
Sig, he did a great job. Yeah, we're fine. Don, he fool jumped right in front of the bullets and protected that damn tiger.
Is he okay?
Of course he is. It's Don.
Okay.
And I imagine this is like before he gets to the doors and opens them up.
Yeah.
Kind of waylays him. And then he would just go open up the doors and she would see Don, Jonah, and Sig in the front seat.
Oh, Donica, it's a shame about your suit.
He like rolled his eyes. Every piece of clothing I own, riddled with bullets.
Yeah, Sig's gonna like get out of the front seat of the car to like join the rest of them. And he doesn't say anything, but he just has like a smile on his face that just is like, "Did you guys see that shit? That was awesome."
Squeak is going to move up next to you, Toph, and he actually is going to help you carry Saracen. I won't ask for a check. You'll be able to lift him. Two of you were able to lift him before. You still have that thing that you sort of made a makeshift stretcher out of as well with the tarpaulin. So you're able to sort of lower the tiger upon it and begin walking towards Bedlam. It is an unnerving looking building. And Squeak basically rummages in his Santa hat that he takes from his strange shaped head and pulls out what looks to be like a long iron key. You're not quite sure where he gets it from, but he basically opens the door with it and the doors creak open. You see cobwebs that line the a long corridor before you, and you see a vast entrance hall, obviously decorated a very long time ago and hasn't been touched since.
So Toph, he just can't take the silence anymore. He has to say something. He says, really like what you did with the place. Cobwebs give great accents. And if Jonah doesn't say anything, he'd be like, so this menagerie, it's not far, is it?
No, it's just at the back of the building, Jonah says as he catches up with you. Do you like it? I like the distressed look about it. We don't like to really move anything around here. We find it disturbs the others that live here, you see.
He remembers reading this article one time when he was in the waiting room a long time ago, and he says, "Yeah, I think they call that feng shui or something like that. Yeah, you want to keep that everything aligned. You should get some crystals."
Everything about this place is perfect. I would not change a single inch of the decor or the feng shui of which you speak. Come on now. 'Tis nearly morning. You wouldn't want to burn.
Yeah, Toph would go as fast as he possibly could to get to where they need to go.
Yeah, the first thing that becomes apparent is as you step through, and I don't know if any of you are following or you're just letting Toph go in on his own. I should probably ask that before we continue. Are you all going in, or are you just letting him go in on his own?
I mean, I'll go because we have to get paid, and I don't think that. I think if I don't bring it up repeatedly, we won't get paid.
Yeah, Sig will go too.
Okay, Tess?
Tess is going. She's got a hand on the tarpaulin, just almost token helping, just probably not actually helping much.
Yeah, just pretending to. Oh, this is so heavy. Yeah, you all make your way in, and you see this vast entrance hall which Jonah leads you through. And as you enter, all of your keen vampiric senses pick up a number of different noises. Some audible laughing, others moaning, and you can hear like a distinct scratching noise coming from somewhere above you as well. As you make your way through the entrance hall, very, very dark, but it doesn't really matter to you as you're vampires. You can see you are walking down now a long corridor, and you see that there are a number of rooms, some of them with shutters along the sides. On the in the middle of the door like that, that you can open, kind of like prison doors or whatever. Some of them just have bars across them as you start walking down this corridor.
Jonah, who's in those rooms?
Why, my guests.
Are they vampires?
Not many of them. Some.
Are they willing guests?
Yeah.
I think it's great. You can never have too many friends.
No.
Toph would laugh too long, and he's probably asking, "Why am I laughing?"
Yes, friends. As he continues to walk down the corridor. Do any of you look in any of the rooms at all?
I think Toph would kind of look over at Tess if she looks like she's going over there, and he'd do one of these things, like just shaking his head no, and look that says, but he's busy carrying this damn tiger.
Tess is insatiably curious, and if one of these has just some bars on, she'll kind of get up on her tiptoes and try and peek in from a distance, not getting right up close to it.
Yeah, you look through and you see the silhouette of what looks to be a small, plump figure sort of sat in the opposite corner, you can see what looks to be really, really thick glasses, old school, like what were they called? I can't remember. It basically looks like the ends of bottles. The glass is that thick
Coke
on his
bottle
glasses. But yeah, like that essentially. Sort of just sat there with legs sort of spread out back to the wall, just like that, and looks up as you look in, and he goes, "Hello."
Does it smell human? Do I hear a heartbeat?
Doesn't smell human.
Tess doesn't answer. She just kind of backs up and catches back up with the
Don't
others.
go, the voice says as you leave.
Yep, nope, not stopping.
I didn't think so. Any the rest of you doing anything as you're like making your way through the this particular hallway?
Donegal is kind of making sure that these little prison cells don't have animals in them because he wants to make sure that the tiger doesn't get stuck in a little cell.
From what you can see, there are no animals to be seen here. There appears to be a number of patients inhabiting the different rooms,
Right.
and you have seen other corridors as well. You know that this wouldn't be the only corridor to house people. You can hear sounds of people all around with your vampiric senses. You basically turn a corner and you go down some stairs. You feel that the air gets significantly colder than it already is, and you take a turn, and you can actually see that where Bedlam is built, it's actually built up upon like a large mound. So you're actually coming towards what looks to be a large set of conservatory doors, but the opposite direction, down a flight of stairs, you can see that there is a red door. And on noticing that you spot this, Jonah will turn around and he'll look at you, Donica, and he'll just go, "No one goes in there."
What's behind the red door, Jonah?
I'm afraid that's confidential.
But we're friends.
Nothing to do with being friends. There are some things that should be left locked away.
So Donika's like taken aback by his serious tone. The first time he's spoken seriously since he's met him.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like I think like a real shiver of fear would go down Donika's spine at the thought of like whatever makes Jonah so serious.
You end up at the end of this other long corridor. You've actually got to the very back of the complex now, and you see that there is this huge conservatory at the back that is sort of built into the back of this this huge building. It has the look of a Victorian constructed conservatory, something that would be described in an Oscar Wilde book, for example. You can see where there would have been a number of different species of flowers and things that kept here, but all of them hang dead and lifeless, rotted into mulch, essentially, due to lack of consideration and care and water. You then see that there is essentially a door that leads to the grounds. And beyond, you can see what looks to be the menagerie, another large glass structure. And within this place, you can see that there are a number of different cages and things like that, but what's inside them you can't quite tell until you arrive. As you're walking across these vast grounds, is there anything that you wish to discuss, or is there anything you wish to do?
Donika's just keen to get this over with now. Like it all seemed pretty fun, or like weird at least, but now it's like uncomfortable and scary.
Tess would slow her pace to match Donika's until she caught up with him. Do you think he'll remember to water him? His flowers look like they've seen better days.
I think that he will take better care of this tiger than he does of the people here.
don't know if they're people. That one, at least that room, it wasn't human.
Well, they say a lot of strange things about the Malkavians, and Jonah is definitely weird. There's something going on. Maybe it's for their own good.
You arrive at the menagerie, and Jonah takes out what looks to be like a large ring with keys upon it that jangle, and he flips through 1, 2, 3, brings it out, opens the door, and you can feel an almost wave of warmth sort of exude over you as you step into something that is an artificial kind of environment. You can see vapor dripping from the windows. You can see all manner of exotic plants that live in this particular place. You see that there are a number of glass cabinets that hold snakes. You can see lizards. You can see a number of cages hanging from the ceilings, which have a number of exotic-looking birds within. You see one particularly large glass case which contains unmistakably a Komodo dragon. Which is pretty terrifying because Komodo dragons are shit. They're scary. And then you see what looks to be a large pit, which is empty currently.
Is this where you're going to keep him, Jonah?
Oh, here we have a way out, and you see that there is a door similar to the enclosure that Saracen was in. Jonah looks very proud as he explains, this is an almost exact replica of his habitat within the zoo. He points out that there are a number of those logs and things that you'd seen in his enclosure before, Donica, and you see that there is a large gate which you can see would likely lead out to a huge fenced area which sits at the back of the menagerie.
Right. He doesn't know what to say.
We'll put him in.
Yeah, Toph would definitely. Would it be lowering him in?
Yeah, you'd have to lower him in. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Toph would do. Toph would start lowering him in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess he's thinking too, should someone get down there that he would lower him too, so or is he just gonna thunk this tiger down in there? Maybe he would just lower him in. Yeah. The tiger's pretty rugged. It'd be fine.
Yeah, because Squeak is also helping you carry it, and Squeak has proven to be immensely strong. You're able to lower him in without any difficulty. You can see that there is places like there's like a sort of dip in the ground, and you can see there's like an artificial sort of pond there for him to drink from. You can see that there is a thing that keeps the water fresh. Like this does appear to be quite a, like I say, like it's almost like a replica of where you've actually taken Saracen from.
Toph doesn't care about any of that. He lowers his tiger down there. Once the tiger is like on the floor of this enclosure, he just straightens up, wipes his hands off on his denim jeans, and he says, "Well, that was an interesting evening. Thank you very much, Jonah. Guess we should get going." And he's going to start making his way.
Absolutely.
Toward the exit.
We shall go to the dining hall. There I shall be able to secure your payment if you would like to come with me. Oh, and Squeak, I'll allow you the honors of selecting Saracen's first meal in his new home. And Squeak looks delighted and runs off towards Bedlam. Come with me, Jonah says. Is there a problem?
Nope. No, let's go. The flowers are beautiful here.
Yes, we like these flowers. We don't like them. He points at the conservatory. To your payment, it awaits. And he claps and he swishes his coat and begins walking back towards the towards Bedlam. I thought you might like to see that he would be taken care of well here. I know you expressed some concerns, Donica. Does this please you? Is this to your satisfaction?
It looks like he'll be well taken care of.
Absolutely, he will. We're going to be best friends. Oh, and Squeak.
Do you think I could come visit from time to time?
I would love that. We have many rooms here, Donica. I'm sure we can put your name on one of them.
I'd probably just come over to say hello to Saracen, maybe have some dinner, and then head home.
Oh, okay. No, absolutely. We're not at sleepovers yet. I get it. I get it. Playing it cool. Oh, we can watch Gladiator.
That would be great. Yep.
Sure. To payment. He leads you back into the asylum. You can hear the moaning and the scratching and the laughing and the fevered, maddening sort of screams of people from the distance. And he opens a huge set of double doors, and you can see that there's this huge dining hall, sort of bedecked with all kinds of strange memorabilia. You're not entirely sure how long Jonah's been around, but you see he has quite a collection of all sorts of different things. He has an antique rifle hanging above a mantelpiece with 2 crossed swords. He has, it's like a really horrible mismatch as well. Like there's no particular sort of, there's nothing matches. Like on one wall he has that, on the other wall like he has like a 52-inch plasma television. Sort of like it's just a bit weird. Please take a seat. We shall settle up, shall we?
Yes, thanks, Jonah. And I'll sit down.
Remind me of the amount again.
We actually hadn't settled. We had spoken about increasing it because of additional... Do you remember in the zoo?
We said 50,000. I was merely asking you out of politeness, Donica.
Yes, but then we discussed some things in the zoo. If you're still happy with 50,000, then I am too.
Very well, 50,000 it shall be. But as I mentioned, Donica, I have much more work available for all of you. Perhaps you'll be able to help next time. He shoots you, Tess, a disgusted look. I'll be with you in one moment. Your prize awaits. And he twirls and he walks from the room.
Once he's like out of the room and probably far enough away that Toph is fairly certain that he won't hear them, he spins towards Donica and he says, Are you for real? Did you just try to shake down a Primogen? If you have a death wish, don't include the rest of us in it.
Look, he's talking, Mr. Contract Signer.
Yeah. First of all, let's not get into that situation. Secondly, he actually seems like a very reasonable guy.
Reasonable? We just stole a fucking tiger.
Yeah, and now we're going to get £50,000 for it. And now we have another ally who is a Primogen, who seems, to like us. Or me, at least.
Toph is speechless. He doesn't know what to say to that. I guess, hey, lose my number the next time you guys want to have some fun like that.
And next time you sign a contract that includes all of us, don't.
And what contract is that? A voice carries across the hall. Jonah has returned. In his hand he carries a briefcase, and he lifts it up and slams it hard onto the table. You hear the wood creak as he does so, belying his potential strength. What contract?
Oh, just some Camarilla nonsense.
I am intimately familiar with Camarilla nonsense. It nearly got us killed this evening.
That was them, was it?
No, it wasn't them. No. No, Cammy, the previous Primogen of my kind. She's a bit sour about the whole thing.
Previous Primogen. What happened?
Oh, yeah, she got blamed for betraying a number of our kind and had to be deposed.
By the Camarilla.
By me.
I'm sure it suits you better than her, anyways.
You can see a look that comes across Jonah's face. You can't tell if it's irritation or something else. They didn't have very many of our kind to choose from. That's how they put it to me, anyway.
Well, I'm glad it was you, Jonah.
Me too. Oh, I framed her. Did I say that?
I didn't hear anything.
What?
So is that the money? And Toph tries to change the subject by pointing to the briefcase on the
Yes, it
table.
is. Very, very astute of you. Let us have a look. It's all there. He opens the briefcase, turns around. Sure enough, you see 50,000 notes before you. Actually, no, there won't be 50,000 notes, but 50,000 worth of notes would be there.
And it's actual money.
It is actual money.
You won't be offended, Jonah, if I count, would you?
I mean, do you not trust me, Donica?
Well, I do. It's just part of. I've seen so many films where, it's always been a dream of mine to count the money for a deal like this.
If you like, I can bring out the counter.
I'm quite capable.
I'm sure you are. By all means. And he drags a seat back, plops himself down, and puts his feet up on the table and just watches you and doesn't break that stare.
Yeah, I'll just. I assume it's like in WoDs or whatever, and I'll just like look and check that there's approximately 50 grand there, and like have a look at some of the notes. And see if they feel real or look real. I'll also just like make sure that it's not just like one layer of notes and then underneath
His
else.
paper, yeah.
You know? All the usual
really,
sort of
if you
stuff.
really wanted, Lloyd, I can absolutely make you do a roll as well if you wish, if you would like to absolutely double check. To you, it looks exactly like £50,000 worth of cash in a suitcase. But if you want to double check, I would not be offended.
I believe you, but I think Donica would double check.
That's absolutely fine. In which case, you may. Well, actually, let's think about it. It would probably be larceny, I think.
Intelligence?
Or yeah.
If Sig could help here, he definitely would.
You absolutely
kind of
can
like
all
watching
check the money if you wish, by all means.
Investigation? Or larceny?
Investigation, yeah, absolutely. Larceny on here? I'm just looking.
Yes, it is. It's in under skills. 2, 3, 4, 7. Jesus.
Yeah, okay. And Siegfried, you're helping too.
Yeah, I'll add a nice 1 to that 7.
Okay, so you give like a brief look. Yeah, looks like it. Donica, you're able to tell that absolutely you have been paid.
Excellent. So I'll try to make that as quick as possible. I don't want to like drag it out or make Jonah uncomfortable. And then I'll smile and say, "Thank you, Jonah. It's been such a pleasure."
It has been a great pleasure indeed. You know where to find me. Here's my card, and he slides a card to you. It it just has Jonah written in biro on it. And he's just like, oh no. And he looks beyond you. You're all able to turn, and you see a beam of unmistakable morning light. It looks like we might be having that sleepover after all.
Right. Yep.
I'll get Gladiator.
Danica will like look at the lovely plasma screen TV and think, it could be worse.
So you are here for the duration of your resting time. So, is there anything that you'd like to do whilst you're here?
Well, one, I really hope that Toph was able to find his probably even more battered and smashed phone. And if he does, I'm just going to say that it doesn't even work now. Like he can't even turn it on. But he still stuffs it in his pocket. But he would want a moment with Tess at some point in the early morning for it. Why the others are watching Gladiator.
So yeah, Gladiator goes on, and you essentially have this time to spend as you wish. Really, Squeak had left a number of those blood packs that he got out of the glove box of the car, so you'll be able to feed upon them if you wish. Not obviously as good as a living target, but it sustains you.
Yeah, Danica would like drink to heal himself, and then like politely watch the first half of Gladiator, which is the best half, and then he would like excuse himself and go hang upside down somewhere.
As you're going, he says, "Would you like the Elysium, sweet Danica?" It is, after all, the resting place of heroes.
That's true. Yeah. I don't really need much, to be honest, Jonah. But if you're offering, sure.
By all means. The rest of you may accompany him if you wish. It is a large part of our humble abode. I understand you may wish privacy here.
Yeah, I'll probably hang up for the night too.
Yes. Yes.
Tess is looking like between Siegfried and Danica and Toph and trying to catch someone's eye because she has no intention of going anywhere alone in this building at all.
Yeah, Sig would just kind of like look over and just kind of like nod, like me and Danica are about to go get taken somewhere to sleep. So if you want to go somewhere, now's the chance.
You hear a dang, 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 as clearly something somewhere is hitting against a metal pipe.
I think we could certainly all go together. That's a brilliant idea.
Squeak, why don't you lead the way? We shall both show our guests the suite. You see Squeak has arrived, and he now is wearing what appears to be like a filthy butler tuxedo. And he gives a nod and leads the way up a large flight of stairs. You can hear even louder now groaning and howling and whining and laughing from It seems like hundreds of different rooms. You can see that there is a clinical kind of edge to the decor. It looks essentially like a Victorian hospital, where essentially like the entryway would have been very, very grand and decorated, but then the further you go up, the deeper into the bowels of this place you go, the more horrendous and awful it looks. Greasy brown grey tiles line the walls. You can see cobwebs even thicker than the ones in the entryway hanging from the corners. Yeah, you hear a general sound of disdain, fear, hatred, and hilarity mixed into a cacophony of sounds that surround you as you walk down corridor after corridor. And eventually, somewhere high up in this place, you arrive at this rather ornate-looking door. You can see above the door, written in a strange red, viscous kind of liquid, the Elysium Suite. You shall have interesting dreams in this place, Jonah says.
Dunnigan's like about to say something, doesn't know what to say. It's like probably too far at this stage to go back, so he'll just nod.
Thank you for the hospitality.
You're very welcome. Rest well. Checkout's at 8 at night.
We'll be sure to be prompt.
Okay. And with a twirl, he leaves, and then Squeak sort of backs away and does like a curt nod and follows. The door is before you. It is still closed.
Essex gonna like walk up to the door and then like put a hand on the handle and then just kind of like look back to the other people and just kind of like shrug. And then I imagine it'd be like with a wince, he would like open the door, like, oh god, what the heck is gonna be on?
Before you, you see something that you probably didn't expect. It shares the same rundown nature as the rest of the place in here, but there are a number of what appears to be disco lights spinning from the ceiling. There is a mirror ball. There is a pinball machine. There is one of those gaming machines for driving Formula One games. You can see that there is a jacuzzi. There is a bidet. There are a number of different bedrooms, all with what appear to look like relatively fresh linen. You see that there are a number of coffins sort of balanced against the walls as well. It's just a mishmash of all of the strangest things you could imagine. There appears to be like a number of lights that surround the room that are in the shape of flamingos, like that. Garish pink things. And yeah, the Elysium Suite.
It's really something.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
I was expecting more blood and less disco, but I'm okay with this.
So,
Sorry, Toph doesn't say a thing. He just kind of just walks into the rooms, just checking things out. Maybe starts opening some of the doors into the bedrooms. Sees one he likes and says, "This is gonna be my room, right here."
Yep, you see that there is a relatively nice bedroom. It's got like a king size bed in it. Yeah, looks nice. No windows, notably, in any of this space.
Gonna get is 100% getting into the jacuzzi.
Absolutely.
Sig is going to try to use his super speed to beat whatever record is on the pinball machine.
Yeah, I'm going to say that you're able to do so. Yeah, you could pretty much play pinball indefinitely with celerity. You would probably never fail.
Yeah, he'll just go until he gets like 150% of whatever the record on there is, and then just like let it fall and just like nod.
Sure. Tess, what are you doing?
I think Tess kind of makes a lap through, and she's glad to find that the rooms, even though they don't have windows, don't feel like prison cells because she was concerned about it. Um, it's weird. She sees Donica soaking in the jacuzzi, and just it's such a bizarre sight. Just kind of shakes her head and watches Siegfried's hands blur as he does the pinball machine.
You actually spot Tess as you're looking through one of the rooms. In the corner, there is sort of like a small kitchenette, and there appears to be actually one window I forgot about. It has what looks to be a small, it's not to the outside, or it doesn't appear to be anyway. It has basically a small, it's only like this big, like a couple of feet along or whatever. And it has what looks to be like a small set of red velvet curtains, almost look like miniature theater curtains around it.
Just kind of pulls back the curtain to see what's on the other side.
There is a face there.
She screams.
Yeah.
Toph
You
would
see-
come running out of the room when he hears Tess scream.
You see before you what looks to be a filthy, bedraggled, disgustingly dirty individual with like a good couple of days growth, like greasy hair, eyes that are different color. One is like basically white, and the other is sort of like a hazel color. And it's like basically like in what appears to be like a small tube that the window looks into, and he says, "Room service."
I think Tess probably jumped back about 3 feet. It, she's not on the ceiling, but she thought about it. And fuck.
We don't have that on the menu, sadly. The name's Mole. Can I get you anything?
No.
Oi. Well, you'll know where I am, he says.
Oh, so you're right there all the time.
Oh yes, always on duty.
What service?
Just service, room service, anything you want, I'll get it. Somehow.
Excellent, thank you. And she'll just kind of step forward and gingerly close the curtains back.
Okay. So is there anything else that you wish to do whilst you're here? Or do you just simply wish to rest?
I think Toph, seeing that everything is okay, there's no threat, he would like kind of run back into the room, and you would hear that a creaking of like a bed springs as he just jumps like kid style onto the bed, and then you would hear him yell from the room, "Get your rest, guys! It's gonna be 8 o'clock checkout time." And he kind of chuckles a little bit at his own joke, and yeah, he's gonna go down.
In that case, you're able to rest. The day passes, we see the sun rise overhead over London. A police investigation begins thanks to a grisly murder in an alleyway near London Zoo. Yeah, there's a brand new day. Brand new night, rather. You all feel refreshed and rested having been well fed and left in relatively a luxurious, if not sinister, portion of the of this place. Yeah, you feel okay, and it's coming up to 8 o'clock.
Seneca will like wake and pull himself down from the ceiling, put on his clothes, which are bullet riddled, and like try and look in a mirror. Can we see ourselves in mirrors?
I believe you can, yeah.
Yep. He'll do that briefly and then remember that he looks like a monster and then turn away. He was like going to attempt to shave or something like that because he was feeling a bit like spiffy after the jacuzzi, but then realizes that he looks literally like a monster and would step away from the mirror. And he would like just like stand in the main area waiting, thinking about that red door.
Yeah, it does play on your mind slightly. Is there anything else that you wish to do before you descend back down into the depths of this place to meet Jonah for checkout?
I think Toph would take a moment. He'd see Tess kind of by herself, and he would walk over to her, and it'd be one of those. She looks at him. He does the head thing, and I don't know what she does back, but he would walk up unless she gives him some sort of sign that she doesn't want to talk, and he would say, much quieter than that, the brash way Toph usually talks. He goes, "How you doing? You all right?"
Not really, but don't have a choice.
No, really. I mean, despite that crazy fucking night we just had, are you okay? And he kind of stumbles at this. You get a sense that this is not in his wheelhouse. He's like, do you need me to do anything?
And now you guys have kicked ass a few times, and on my behalf, it's worth a lot. I'll get to okay. We'll get there.
Listen, I know I'm an asshole. I know that. But I want you to know that if you need anything, you can always come and ask me. Because God knows if you're waiting for me to figure it out, we're going to be primogens ourselves before that happens.
My aunt used to say that you should never wait on a man to figure out what you want. They'll be waiting forever. I'm all right, Toph. I need a break from whatever this insanity of tigers and bullets and blood. I don't do that. Donika's good at it. I'm not. You're good at it. Siegfried's fucking fast.
Yeah. You're doing great.
Jonah's right. I was useless.
No. He leans in really close, probably a little uncomfortably close, and he says, "Don't listen to what that guy says. He doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about half the time. We all have skills in different ways. Don't measure yours based on what he says or what I say or anybody says. You'll find it." And then he would give her one of these really kind of awkward, kind of like playful bumps on the shoulder, which he probably does a little bit harder than he probably intends, right, kid?
Yeah. All right. We're going to be late if we don't go.
Yeah, checkout time. Can't miss that.
But unless you have any objection, you're able to descend once again into Bedlam. You can see arms reaching out of bars in certain places. You can still hear the it seems like a continual cacophony of noise in this place, just like the drone of insanity surrounding you. You're able to descend down winding stair after winding stair until you reach that grand set of staircases that leads you down into the great hall. And off that room is the dining hall where Jonah already sits, his legs up on the table, and he says, "Ah, my child, I trust you rested well. How did you find the suite?"
You brought us there.
Very good, Donica. Oh, very good. Very good. Have you seen the news?
You know, there was no newspaper delivered this morning. I haven't seen it.
I will have Mole incinerated. Sorry, I couldn't even say that with a straight face. Oh, man. Have a look. You see that there are a number of news stories playing on the large plasma television that is on, glaring at the end of the dining hall. It's mounted on the wall. There's a story about a murder in an alleyway that might be connected to a missing tiger report that London Zoo has lost. There is a big kerfuffle about what has happened and where the big cat has gone, seemingly without a trace. And then another news story comes on. Police search begins for a father and husband who vanished some nights ago. We are now going live to the scene where a desperate mother makes a plea to find her husband. And Donica, you see, sat at a long table, surrounded by policemen, is your wife. And that is where we're going to leave our session tonight. So, thank you ever so much, my wonderful players. Once again, very, very fun session to run. It's been nice to explore the Malkavian way of life for a little bit. I sense that next session we might get back on track with some of our other more serious plot lines, but we shall see. For now, we're going to do some experience. So, as ever, you all get one for being here. And then we're going to do learning curve, and we're going to begin with Toph. What did Toph learn this session, Lionel?
So it probably didn't play out. It didn't play out in our session, but I imagine as he's kind of fiddling with his phone sometime that late evening, early morning, that Siegfried or Donica educated him on the risks of internet and photos. So I think his learning curve was that whatever's in cyberspace stays in cyberspace, even if your phone is trashed. Because he's probably like, no, my phone, it's ruined. Look at it, you know. And then they're like, no, man, that's not how it works. So yeah, I think that's what it is. So his learning really is that he's picking up on stuff that maybe he has really just never paid attention to in these last 30 years around technology. He still kind of thinks it's like magic, and these guys are still probably fucking with him a little bit. But yeah, I think that was his learning curve for this game.
And not leaving evidence, or making evidence, as it were.
Yeah. I think we left enough evidence that he was actually making it even more.
Amazing. What was Tess's learning curve?
I think Tess learned that the Malkavians are scary and insane, and she wants nothing to do with Jonah. She already had that inkling, but after being there, and the house and just the way he speaks is utterly terrifying. And she will be very glad to get out as fast as she possibly can.
For sure. So Creed, what was your learning curve?
Ooh, that you can pretend to be a lot better at things than you actually are when you have super speed. Like, it's just so valuable. Like, it's like playing a game in slow motion. Like, there's so much power in being able to just like stop and think through like what would normally be a split second for other people, when you can like slow down and go through it. And
sure.
it makes him a lot better at things than he ever thought that he could be. And that there's a lot of use to that. Like, he's spent the entirety of last session doing absolutely nothing at all, just like standing while Donica did all the work, and then was kind of feeling down about it. And then suddenly there's this chase scene where he just like is an utter badass at it. And that kind of is shaping him a little bit.
For real, absolutely. I was very impressed with it. And finally, what was Donica's learning curve?
That's a good question. I'm not too sure. I think like he learned that he is like a bit of a social butterfly, that he'll like be able to, or is able to, fit himself to what the powerful people need him to be. So he's done it with like Fig. He's done it now with Jonah, that he's like able to kind of get a sense for what like these powerful vampires want in a person who's doing a job for them, and like act that way. But also that like his real life still exists, or his not real life, depending on your point of view. Like, he hadn't forgotten that, but now it's been like firmly like reminded, you know.
Agreed completely. Now, the last section, unless we award extra stuff for extra things, but we'll find out. We're going to do role-playing experience. So what was the highlight of Toff's role-playing this evening? And as ever, anyone can jump in.
I think we're taking all the pictures, like the naivety of being in the van and just being like, hey, this is great, there's a tiger in the car. And like just like not getting it, like not understanding why that would be a problem, or like why that would just be such a bad idea. Yeah, I think that was my fave.
I liked when he kind of called Donica out, like, are you shaking down a Primogen? Because of the four of us, Toph is the only one who really understands what it means to be Primogen and how much power they have. And I really like that. It's like, no, you're fucking stupid. What are you doing?
And you guys took both of mine right there. Yeah, I was gonna say like the Primogen thing too. I think seeing Toph like still so scared of like to be so brash in so many situations, and then still terrified of these like higher ups, perhaps rightfully so, but also perhaps not rightfully so, because like we still got exactly what we were trying to get out of Jonah, at least so far. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic of Toph being scared of these people develops. Maybe he shouldn't be as scared as he is.
For sure. And I liked that bit at the end, to be honest. I like that Toph kind of addressed Tess's sort of feeling a bit out of sorts. I like that conversation a lot. And speaking of, let's talk about Tess. Tess's role-playing moment.
Mo. That was my favorite bit of the session. Just full, I couldn't stop laughing. It's just the funniest little character. Jonah said he was going to incinerate him. I just thought that was so fucking funny.
Yeah, it was. We didn't really see, I think, the consequences of it, but the fact that Tess actually pulled out the gun and shot the biker was kind of surprising to me. The fact that there wasn't really a whole lot of hesitation there, or at least we didn't see a lot of hesitation outwardly put. She's just like, oh, there's people here. There's a gun in the glove box. Bang. And she shot him twice and killed him. I was surprised at how easily that happened.
I think my moments, I co-sign on all of those other ones too. But when the vehicles were finally stopped, Tess is like always mothering everybody. She always wants to make sure everybody's okay. And she's genuine about it. You know, you're not always clear when someone's checking in on you, whether they really are genuinely wanting it. But Tess, that's it. When she came and met Toph at the back of the van, he's like, is everybody okay? I like that.
I mean, you stole mine. I was going to say the thing about the gun as well, because I've been waiting for Tess to use a gun. Yeah, so sorry I'm copying, but like that particular bit for me, I really enjoyed. No hesitation, just bam, bam, out of the window. Pretty cool. Wicked. Role playing for Siegfried.
I just love the whole driving, and Siegfried being like, do that handbrake turn, like, yeah, sure, I can do it, and in his head, like, I've seen it in a movie. How hard could it be? And successfully doing it. It was great. We hadn't seen that side to Siegfried yet of just kind of taking that risk.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on that because he had like this great role play moment that ran through the whole chase scene. But what I really liked was the way Siegfried was at the end. Like he was just beaming and he was like, yeah, I did that. There was that level of confidence that we've only seen glimmers of, but now, boom, there it is. And that was pretty good. I think Toph is going to have like a whole new respect for Sig because he did something that he thought was well outside this kid's wheelhouse, but he kicked it.
Yeah, there's just like a moment at the end where he like got out of the car and he was, "Do you guys see that?" Which I thought was like really unlike Siegfried, but in like an interesting way. I can't remember what he said exactly, but it was like basically like, "Wasn't that cool? Like, look at that thing that I did," which is good because it was cool, and it's good that Siegfried like can understand that he's also very powerful and useful.
That was some Fast and Furious shit, something like that,
Yes,
wasn't it? That
yep.
really made me laugh. Damn, I was going to say that. I tell you what, I liked the interaction, Jonah calling him driver, and how you responded to that. That was particularly good, driver. And finally, Donica.
I'll go first. I loved that Donica shielded and protected the tiger at, you know, not worrying about the risk to himself, even though he sees these bullets ripping through the sides of this van. I thought that was great. You know, it's like that self-sacrifice. It's nice to see that in him. Of course, he has more of a love for animals than anything else, but still, it was nice. I thought that was a good scene.
I like that Donica still just has this unshakable confidence of no matter who he's talking with, he always approaches them on like an even playing field. Like Primogen's top levels of the Camarilla, whatever, he's gonna say what he's gonna say, no matter what, no matter if it's a psychopathic crazy man or who knows what. Despite Toph's continuous warnings, he's just like, nope, I'm here to. We had a business deal. We're settling the business deal. We're gonna shoot straight on it. Like, and there's no fear, which is great.
I like the red door and that it catches Donica's attention and that it actually gives him pause. Because he is usually the person who will figure out what's behind a door, but that one actually kind of gave him pause.
Has everyone been? Sorry, I think everyone's been, haven't they? For me, it was counting the money. You were like, yeah, I want to count the money. I was like, yeah, he does. Which I enjoyed because I could tell you were so worried. I could tell that you all thought that he was going to try and trick you in some way.
Monopoly money, I think Lionel said in the chat.
Yeah, there's a monopoly money, or there was going to be paper, and there were only going to be a few notes actually in there. But true to his word, £50,000 in cash. So it's not even in your black bank accounts, as it were. Anyway, so once again, I say thank you to my wonderful players, in particular for putting up with the insanity of the past two sessions. Next session is going to be, I think, one of those ones where we just do what we want. It's sort of like a I can't remember what the phrase was I used to describe them before. but essentially we're just going to do what you want. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, seeing what you do. So thank you guys for that wonderful session. Thank you for those who are watching live, and also Artifact, if you like this video, get a like. If you'd like to see more like it, then give me a subscribe. Or not. We're all friends here, or are we? Take it easy, and I hope that all of your performances are up to standard. I muted. Why did I mute? I need to hit stop broadcast.